Shadow Milk has been ruining the arena for far too long. When a cookie is meta for a long time, it's alright, as long as they're fun to use and play against. But Shadow Milk is so stale and annoying to fight, he deserves to get kicked from the meta. And our dreams finally came true when White Lily got her awakening. She's immune to Shadow Milk's shackles, so she's meant to be a hard counter. She's also a damage dealer, so she's meant to replace Shadow Milk's slot in arena teams. On day 1 of the update, it was glorious. Shadow Milk got kicked from the meta. People started to use this standard team, with Silent Salt, Hollyberry, Eternal Sugar, White Lily, and Marshmallow Bunny. No Shadow Milk in sight. A while later, even more arena teams appeared that still didn't include Shadow Milk. We got one-shot comps that didn't include Silent Salt, like this: Hollyberry, Eternal Sugar, White Lily, Fire Spirit, and Marshmallow Bunny. Everything was great, and the arena was finally freed from the shackles of Shadow Milk. But then, tragedy struck. It was a dark and stormy day. Shadow Milk began showing up on the arena leaderboards again. The standard team no longer used Eternal Sugar, but instead used the dreaded Shadow Milk. But why? He doesn't do that much damage anymore, and it's not like he can shackle White Lily. So what happened? Well, in order to find out why, we need to do some arena battles. Our opponent's using the standard team with Eternal Sugar. However, I'm still using the same type of standard team, but with Shadow Milk instead of Eternal Sugar. Let's see what happens. Wait, what happened? Isn't Eternal Sugar clearly better than Shadow Milk? So why did I win? And it's not like the opponent was weak either, they were a Grandmaster too. Maybe that was all just a fluke and I got lucky. Let's fight another Grandmaster too, who's using Eternal Sugar in a standard team. Welp, I guess White Lily failed to counter Shadow Milk. Instead, she countered the wrong beast, Eternal Sugar. Dang it. Wait, but all hope isn't lost yet. Remember how I mentioned that there were one-shot teams that didn't use Shadow Milk or Silent Salt? Yeah, maybe those are still good. Our next opponent's using that exact type of team. And notice how they don't have the Jelly Wash treasure? That's definitely a one-shot comp. Let's use our Shadow Milk standard team against it and see if we lose. Crap, not even one-shot comps can beat him. Welp, it looks like everything's hopeless. In the end, it turns out Shadow Milk offers way more utility than Eternal Sugar. He's tankier, so doesn't get killed by White Lily as easily, can shackle other cookies that aren't White Lily, and he still does a lot of single target damage. So now we just gotta accept our fate and use him. Anyways, you may be wondering how this team works. So the top 1 arena player actually tutored me. He helped make this team work for me, even though I'm a free-to-play player with bad promotions. So for the treasures, the flamingo tube and watch are mandatory no matter what, but for the remaining treasure, it varies. Lots of people use a monocle, but it doesn't work for my account. He told me to use either the necklace or the whistle instead, and it turned out to be way better. So the last treasure can be either of those two, and it's interchangeable. Our next opponent's using Shadow Milk with the monocle treasure. Let's see if I can get away with using the same team but with a whistle instead of the monocle, which gives me less survivability but way more damage output. Next up, there's some finicky things that need to be done to the toppings for this team to work. The Flamingo Tube HP buffs are supposed to go on White Lily and Hollyberry, so those two need peanut toppings and the most HP. Shadow Milk and Silent Salt both need more attack than White Lily, due to how enemy Silent Salt targeting works. My Shadow Milk no longer runs the usual 6 chocolate toppings. He has some raspberry now to make his attack higher than White Lily's. Now let's see if my tutor's topping setup works against this Grandmaster 1 opponent. They're using the typical Shadow Milk monocle team, but with a 5A Hollyberry. Oh geez. Looks like my tutor absolutely cooked. Now here's a full topping layout. Silent Salt has 6 raspberry with a tainted steel bypass beascuit. Hollyberry has 6 peanuts and her beascuit can vary. Shadow Milk has enough raspberry to get more attack than White Lily, and the rest is chocolate with a bypass beascuit. White Lily has 6 peanuts and a bypass beascuit. Marshmallow Bunny has enough amplify buff to throw the max amount of eggs, and then as much crit as possible with a cooldown beascuit. Keeping this in mind, let's fight another Grandmaster 1. They're using Shadow Milk with a monocle, but they have a 5A White Lily. This is gonna be the hardest fight yet. At the end of the day, looks like Shadow Milk is still meta, and Eternal Sugar is getting kicked out instead of him. That's the wrong beast cookie, but well, that's all for this video.